Good morning, Apex Legends fanbase. It's the Stinky Caustic main back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the inclusion of Apex Legends characters in Super Smash Bros. Just kidding. In this one, we're going to avoid talking about crossovers and similarities because I have a more important issue to discuss today. This issue is one that, though very important to me, is one that will not matter in the long run considering I am never lucky enough to get something like an heirloom. But I am a Caustic main, and that makes me obligated to talk about this. But considering this is not a news channel, I have to add my input to what I'm going to review today. As much as I would love for this channel to be a garbage dump where I re-upload everything I see on Twitter, it is not going to be that. This page is about scrutiny, comprehension, analysis, and most of all, thoughtfulness. But I can't discuss something without showing it to you first. So here it is. This is the Caustic heirloom and a couple of animations. Pretty cool, right? Yup. Yeah, I think so too. Now with that out of the way, we can actually get to talking about this thing. Starting off with its most explicit detail, and that would be the big skull on the back. Honestly, I would be more surprised if this didn't have a skull on it, considering how much death is incorporated into Caustic's character, and the symbolism just needs to be there in order to convey that. Of course, it is a little on the nose, however, that's the whole point of these things. I mean, heirlooms are supposed to be little projections of the character's entire personality onto a melee weapon. I mean, the guy who can't get enough of himself literally has himself as a weapon. The better the heirloom, the less surprising it will be. And the skull on Caustic's heirloom is a nice touch that's unsurprising for all the right reasons. But don't take that as me saying you shouldn't be creative with these things, especially as we move on to analyzing this next little detail. I am of course talking about the gas chamber, the little hole on the side of the hammer where you put in little gas canisters for it to spit out. It's really similar to a hammer from Killing Floor 2 where you do the same thing except with the purpose of using shotgun shells to propel your hammer forward. Of course, the gas shells will not propel your hammer forward. Instead, it will give off cool little particle effects. And these particle effects do as much as an heirloom really can do. Look cool. Also, a funny thing about this heirloom is the fact that I initially found the yellow color to be offsetting, until I realized Caustic's default appearance is actually yellow, and the only skins I wear are green. This does make me think about heirloom recolors, however, that's for an entirely different video to discuss. For now, here's this lazy Photoshop of a green Caustic hammer. Before we get too off track, let's get back to the original hammer design, and by that I mean let's talk about the handle of the hammer. This hammer handle looks pretty standard until you notice the big trigger on the front of it. Yup, sadly it's not controlled by telepathy, instead there is a mechanism going on inside of it. This may be a big L for Caustic's scientific reputation, but it gets the job done and does it well for what it needs to do. That being cool particle effects, which is the most important thing in every first-person shooter. Joking aside, I'm going to talk about the particle effects next, because this kind of shows how Caustic had a bit of an advantage here compared to all the other legends. No other legend except for Caustic has a particle effect as their main ability. Caustic's tactical, passive, and ultimate all make use of his iconic concoction, so it only makes sense that his melee weapon of choice would as well. And considering the fact that no other heirloom has this much emphasis on particles, Caustic starts off with an initial advantage simply because of the character he is. And to be entirely honest, this does not bother me at all. But you already knew that because I introduced myself as a Caustic main earlier in the video. Next, let's talk about compatibility. Well, what the hell even is compatibility? What am I even talking about here? When I say compatibility, I am talking about how an heirloom looks on a character's already existing design. How does it add on to what they already have, and how does it complement it well? The most important pair to look at when talking about compatibility is the default outfit with the heirloom. So as much as I'd like to, I am not going to compare it to any skins. Even any skins that may have matched the heirloom more than the default one. But because I'm not going to talk about it, we will never know. Up on the screen I have placed the two subjects of our analysis ready to compare. And compare we will, starting off with the color schemes. And to be honest, the color schemes almost match exactly, which is more surprising than it is because I've never seen these two designs right next to each other, as Respawn tends to put the new heirlooms with new skins released in the same update. So the only skin we saw this heirloom with is the new Joker one, which in my opinion is a great way to reintroduce a Caustic clown skin without bringing back the old one and pissing off all the OGs. Next, I want to look at the general texture of the designs. Let's look at how each little piece makes up a grand expression of what the character is all about. First, I want to bring up the consistency of the tubing. Both designs incorporate a lot of tubing meant for the gas to flow through. If you look at Caustic's design, design, one thing that stands out is the amount of cylinders that is attached to his body. Almost all these cylinders give off the idea that this man is carrying some sort of dangerous material. And if any of you have played Caustic, you will know that this is exactly what's going on. This, along with his bright yellow tunic signaling hazmat, is why his design is so iconic. Using the power of what we're used to as humans, we can look at this man for 1 second and already know what he's all about. Dangerous chemicals and toxic environments. Caustic is the one character in Apex Legends where you can just size him up and assume his ability from what you've seen. This is what makes Caustic special. This is also what they need to put into Caustic's heirloom to make it special. And not just any kind of special, but Caustic's very own special. When you look at Caustic, you can find out exactly who he is. When you look at Caustic's weapon, you should be able to find out exactly who the owner is. And when I look at this heirloom, the one thing going through my mind is, damn, Respawn really nailed it this time. And when this company makes heirlooms, they go back to what made their characters iconic and special, and then do it all over again. From some unfortunate leaks, we know that Respawn loves to plan ahead for everything they do. And they also love to put in the time to make every product the best it can really be. Especially considering that EA has a completely opposite philosophy. Which is why whenever Respawn releases something great, it manages to baffle my mind. Of course, when I say that, I'm talking about a little more than the heirlooms in Apex Legends. But they're a great example as to what I'm talking about regardless. Maybe it's the insane price. Maybe it's how rarely they're released. But something about heirlooms gets the Apex Legends community hyped every single time. And I'm honestly willing to bet on the fact that it's the perfectionism that goes into each one of these. And although their existence is great, there is a huge problem when it comes to actually acquiring one of these items. If you want an heirloom in Apex Legends, you have two options. You can either take a 0.002% chance in Apex packs, or you can give EA $70 during an event and they'll give it to you right away. But that's okay! I mean, after all, it's just cosmetic. Don't we love using that phrase to defend every evil corporation in video games right now? It's just a cosmetic. Even Fortnite never released an item that cost any more than a AAA game. The only thing that makes this somewhat forgivable is the fact that the more you play, the higher your chances of getting an heirloom in a pack go. The same cannot be said for getting the Wattson Chibi Charm though. I mean, $70 for a Chibi Charm? Come on. I feel like even if they had the money, most Wattson mains would not make this investment. Unless they're big streamers and they have no reason not to get the item. Which allows me to segue into how these items are actually sold and why people buy them. First reason is that all the little kids with no individuality see their favorite streamers using these tools and want to be cool like them. Completely unaware of the fact that these streamers make money off of what they are doing, and that's their entire job. Though this tangent may be a little uncalled for, it needs to be said, so it doesn't seem like I'm saying what EA is doing is right. As a matter of fact, almost every time EA does something, it's not right. Respawn are the ones making all the cool shit for the game. EA decides how everything is priced. When you appreciate the art of a game, you have to separate the developer from the publisher. And that's why I brought all this pricing stuff up. I am not acclaiming EA for their job. I'm acclaiming Respawn. Anyway, this was the Stinky Caustic main. Just stopping by to make a quick little video on why the Caustic heirloom is so awesome, as well as a short little segment as to why it's not. I will see you all in the next one, which hopefully is very soon. If you liked the vid, then like the vid. If you disliked the vid, then dislike the vid. In the comment section, tell me what you like and what you hate about the Caustic heirloom, as well as why you think that way. This has been the Stinky Caustic main. Thanks for watching. Also, throughout this video, I was saying that the heirloom costs $70. No, it does not. That shit costs like $120. Oh my god. Bruh, how? How did they get away with that shit? Boils me the wrong way. Also, Aftermarket isn't the event when they added a Clown Caustic skin last year. That was Halloween. Respawn doesn't really care about OGs, thank god.